Well, it's been a pretty great day so far. It has been pretty awesome. I've gotten a lot done and definitely ready to end the day by going into a fantasy draft on Underdog today. So right now they're doing a 25% deposit match up to a $100 max bonus. But the good thing is if you could use my code FFN, it's in the description right now. You can go ahead and get a $50 deposit match or a 50% deposit match up to $1,000 in bonus cash if you wanted to hop in one of these. And the good thing also is that Underdog came out with quite a few new drafts. So I've already filled up on the Schnauzer too. I am plenty deep in Best Ball Mania. Could do that again tonight, but I'm probably not going to. Greyhound has been up. Marathon, Eliminator, Sprint. The Poodle is new. The Corgi's new, and the Pitbull is new as well. So we're going to go ahead and get into a Poodle draft. So this one's a $7 buy-in, and it's $40,000 to first, $20,000 to second, $15,000 to third, so on and so forth. So this one's a pretty good one. So we're going to get into the Poodle right now, and we're just going to raw dog this one. We're going to see where the winds take us on this one. I'm not going to use the tool that I've been using for the last several live drafts. We're just going to see how this one goes. So just make sure to drop a like in the video, subscribe to the channel to show your support, and let's draft a team, man. So one thing I did want to get into was about the video I posted yesterday, which was going through breakout running backs that I think a lot of people are just really overlooking in drafts. And, you know, it's so funny. Like, every time I do one of these, like, league-winning running back videos or breakout running back videos that people aren't really thinking about, it's so funny to kind of, like, watch the reaction from certain people. Because it's like some people just always want to, like, live in the negative and be like, well, they're all handcuffs, essentially, is what you're telling me. Like, draft handcuff running backs. And it's like, dude, this is way deeper than getting a handcuff running back. I promise you. I promise you it's way deeper than getting a handcuff back. And people want to argue about it like it's not going to matter. And it's like, well, Chase Brown was considered a handcuff back at the beginning of last year. I know it's hard to remember that, but he was. Zach Moss was originally supposed to be the starter. As soon as Jonathan Brooks was healthy, he was going to come in and be the starter for Carolina. Well, Chuba Hubbard was better. Both those guys were league winners. Several years ago, Kyron Williams was a third string heading into the year. Cam Akers was a bum, and immediately Kyron Williams took over. And the rest is history on 2023. So it's like, it blows my mind. Man, I've got so much of Gibbs, but it just, like, he's my clear favorite. So I'm going with Gibbs. But yeah, it blows my mind, like, watching people just continue to say that about a particular player that it happens every year. Like, there's always a surprise breakout running back that a lot of people just don't expect based on ADP and where they're being drafted in Underdog and in fantasy drafts. And I would contend that Underdog's probably got the smartest drafters on here. Like, I think Underdog has the smartest drafters in fantasy football. And Chuba Hubbard last year was like the RB50. Like, it happens every year. So, yeah, it's just interesting. I did notice that on my video yesterday, which always cracks me up. People just got to expand their thinking, you know? Okay. Well, I mean, if Brock Bowers makes it to me, I'm going to have a hard time saying no. Probably, it's been a little bit since I've went with Brock Bowers, so I might just end up going with him here. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Brock Bowers it is. So, RB, tight end, first two. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch. But let me know what y'all got going on. What questions you guys have, what you want to talk about. going up to Austin this weekend. Looking forward to it. They've got my buddy, he's a big film guy. So my buddy, like, he works in the film industry, and there's a movie theater. I think it's just like Alamo Drafthouse. Actually, they always play like old movies. And this week they're showing The Big Lebowski, and that's one of my favorites. I love The Big Lebowski. It's one of my favorite movies. So I'm going up to Austin on Thursday to go watch The Big Lebowski in theaters. And that's going to be fun because I've never watched The Lebowski in theaters. So probably going to have a cocktail or two, watch The Big Lebowski, laugh my butt off. It's going to be hilarious. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But let me know what y'all got going on. Like the video, subscribe to the channel to show your support as well. We could talk about fantasy. We could talk about whatever. Okay. Well, I'm probably going to go ahead and go with Jackson Smith and Jigba as my wide receiver 1. Yeah. Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers, Jackson the Jigba. This feels like a draft that I haven't done before. And, you know, I highlighted this on the other video yesterday, which is that, you know, I'm like, at this point, I'm like 95 drafts deep. So I'm coming up on my 100th draft almost. And so at this point, I'm really trying to diversify what I'm doing in these drafts. Like, that's a big focus of mine right now because it's really easy to, like, just let yourself fall into a pattern of doing what feels really natural. And that's, like, something I always tend to do. Like, everybody naturally does that. Like, you find a pattern and you find a draft strategy that works for you and you just stick with it. So right now I'm just trying to expand the possibilities because, you know, maybe I'm wrong on certain players, right? Like, maybe instead of Trey Benson every time, I should start, you know, branching out and going with Tyjae Spears, who is also on the breakout list, and even out my shares of him, right? So, but the first 3 guys are definitely guys that I've taken in drafts before, just not together. This is not a strategy that I've strung together before, I don't think, because I'm going off the riff right now. And what I found also is that anytime you go tight end in round 2, it really screws up your chances of making the playoffs when you use that tool by a lot, actually. It's interesting. I'm tempted to go with Jaden Daniels, honestly. Yeah, I'm going to do it. So I've got one of everything so far. That's my first 4 picks. Jahmyr Gibbs at running back, Brock Bowers at tight end, Jackson Smith the Jigba at wide receiver, and Jaden Daniels is my quarterback. It's an interesting draft so far. I'm interested to see where I take it from here. Probably going to target a wide receiver here in round 5. In an underdog format, you got to target a wide receiver. Like, you got to fill out, you got to get at least 2 within the first 5 rounds, I feel like. I don't think I've ever had a successful underdog draft that didn't have at least 2 wide receivers within the first 5, outside of the first 5 rounds. And I'm shocked. George Kittle usually doesn't fall this far. Auto pick right there. So that doesn't really give us a full picture of how far he possibly could have fallen. But George Kittle is definitely rising up draft boards. That's one thing I've noticed for sure. I'm good with either Zay or Jalen. I'm pretty happy about actually one of the 2. Cool with Zay, man. Actually, I was going to lean towards picking Zay at either way because, again, I've taken so much of Waddle, and I haven't taken as much of Zay, and Zay fits my eye and my research in a lot of different ways. Like, in my breakout wide receiver video, I definitely see lots of upside with Zay. So, yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly on board with taking Zay. You know what? I haven't been the 101 or the 102 many times this year. It's weird. It's really weird. I was looking at my exposure yesterday, and I saw the only time I only have Jamar Chase in one team. It's actually kind of wild how much I'm not getting. Chris, what's going on, man? Good to see you in here tonight. Who's your favorite in the Patriots wide receiver room? Who's going to be the wide receiver one? I'll say this. It's very easy, and I think the default answer is to say Stephon Diggs. And here's the thing. I would agree with that statement if he had no injury issue. Like, he's not only got an injury issue, he's got a legitimate, like, let me make this pick really quick and then I'll keep talking about that. Man, I love going Travion. That's a default move right there. I'm just gonna go with my default. I'm gonna go Travion. Yeah, I think that if he wasn't injured coming into this year, I would definitely say Diggs because he looked good last year. But the problem that I'm having is that I think it's a stretch to think that he's going to be healthy and ready to go week one. And he's also in his 30s now. So it's not like we're getting this like super young guy who hasn't had any injury issues, right? Now, it's obvious that the Patriots don't exactly have like a different they're not exactly like rich with wide receiver talent. Like Kyle Williams, I like the talent, but I mean, he may not work out. I personally for me, I think Demario Douglas, the way I'm going to answer this question is like this. The guy that I've been drafting a bunch is Demario Douglas because he's so cheap and he's a target guy. And May does like to throw to him. So Drake May will throw to him. And I think that if Diggs is there, it frees up Demario Douglas quite a bit. Because I'll be honest, like Kyle Williams was not a guy that I was like super big on in the draft process. The only reason I'm like on board with taking him right now is because of the fact that he's so cheap and he's also like very easily could be the number one wide receiver. So I think that the wide receiver one will probably end up being Diggs, but the guy that I prefer to draft out of that room is definitely Douglas, as cheap as he is. Jaden Reed is also very much an auto pick. I'm going to switch it up and go with Khalil Shakir. The only time I've been getting Shakir is if I stack him with Allen. So I'm going to go Khalil Shakir straight up. Oh, sorry. What's up, Ryan? It's all good, brother. Good to see you in here. You know, I was thinking the other day, I need to make you a moderator, Chris. You've been with me for so long. Like, you definitely should be a moderator. For those of you who don't know, Chris Code is one of my oldest OG supporters here. So, appreciate your support. You should definitely be a moderator. I'm killing from the 8 pick. I've gotten 3 times so far. Yeah, it's definitely like one of those things. And, you know, last week I was doing a draft, and somebody said to me, I don't think that we should be drafting on Best Ball Mania right now. Like I think already like the winner has been decided essentially is what he was getting at. And basically saying like, yeah, they like you're not getting the values that you were getting right at the beginning. And I'm like, yes, there's some truth to that, but the beauty of doing it right now is like you're working out kinks, right? And you don't have to use Best Ball Mania for that necessarily, but I'm gonna go with Jaylen Warren. I'm going to build up some more stock. I've already got so much of Jordan Mason. I'm going to see if Trey Harris can get back to me. I'm also cool with Rashad Bateman. But yeah, I've got I always get that. Like, I understand the perspective of that mindset, and you don't have to use Best Ball Mania every time, but you can get so exposed to what draft strategy you like and what position you get as well. Like I've done, like I said, 95 drafts at this point. Like I've been exposed to every single position at least once. Like I said, the 101, I've only had it once. It's actually weird, but I've had the 102 more than I've had that. And then anything in between, I've had tons of times. Like you just get exposure, man. And the more exposure you can get, it's just a positive thing. Keep getting Gibbs and Tet falling to me. Love getting Gibbs at the 108. I think Gibbs at the 108 is fantastic value. Definitely not as in on Tet. And I've not been shy about that. I've got maybe 3 or 4 shares of Tet. Not many. I'm not big on taking Tet, to be honest with you. Well, passing on ETN sucks, but I'm going to do it because I need wide receivers. And I like Trey Harris. That is one guy that I did like from the scouting process, and I think he landed in a good spot that I'm comfortable with. So, here's the update right now. So, we've got Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers, Jack Smith-Njigba, Jaden Daniels, Zay Flowers, Travion Henderson, Khalil Shakir, Jaylen Warren, and Trey Harris. So make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and show your support. And again, there is a link in the description for Underdog if you want to join. I'll also drop it in the chat as well, just so you can get in on one of these drafts if you want to. But yeah, it's definitely Tet for me is not my guy. I'm curious to know, actually, why you like Tet and why you think he's a value where you're getting him. Because from what I've seen, at least, I have noticed that the Tet crowd is shrinking a little bit. Maybe not shrinking is the right word, but I would say that the Tet crowd has been less quiet. Maybe that's the better way to put it. All right, there we go. So I dropped that link for you guys if you have interest. Okay, we're back on the clock. So, I'm going to skip on quarterback again. I'll take Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams is my wide receiver 5. Pretty solid. Feeling pretty solid about that. But yeah, Chris, let me know what your thoughts are on Tet, because I'm interested for sure. Interested to hear. And anybody else watching, let me know, because like I said, the Tet crowd has become quieter, and that's natural. I mean, all rookie hype dies, and there's a reason. Like there's historical data that shows that rookies over time get cheaper throughout the offseason. Like that's a thing. So like if you're drafting in May or even June, that price of most rookies is going to be lower by the time you're drafting when it really matters in like August. It's just different. So like when Tep becomes cheaper, I could definitely get in on him probably easier, but right now it's just too rich. I just don't see tons of upside for him to have much upward movement. Well, I'm debating if I should go quarterback and just tie it off, or if I should go with a running back that I like. I think I'm going to tie Herbert went. Well, that's a real pisser because I really wanted Herbert to stack him. So I'm just going to go Ty J. See where the cards end up. So, looking at my stack options here, I could wait until the end and stack Sam Darnold with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I could stack Gino with Brock Bowers. I guess I'll just wait to get Darnold. I think that's fine. And then just kind of fill out my running backs and wide receivers. Might get another tight end here soon. This is typically a good range for tight ends. From my perspective, I think there's a lot of strong tight ends in this range. But we'll see. Trey Benson being available is so tempting. I mean, I can't. It's like it's so hard for me to pass on him. Oh God. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it. He's just too good. Like I love Trey Benson so much this year. I can't resist. Like that's really what it comes down to. Is I can't resist taking Trey Benson. Okay, let's see. Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers, Jackson Jigba, Jaden Daniels, Zay Flowers, Travion Henderson, Khalil Shakir, Jalen Warren, Trey Harris, Kyle Williams, 2 rookie wide receivers, Tyjae Spears, and Trey Benson through the first 12 rounds. So let's start to think about tight end. No, I'm not going to think about tight end again. I'll probably pick quarterback sooner than I pick tight end, actually. You know, I don't have much of Romeo Doubs, who I do think is a solid pick where he's going, so I'm going to take Doubs. Doubs is my wide receiver 6 or beyond. Pretty solid, in my opinion. This is definitely a different draft than what I have been doing in previous. So, it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out. probably going to start thinking about taking Darnold here. Just don't want to get sniped. So many people have 2 quarterbacks by now. A couple people have 3. Can I punt again? Go with Roshan, round out my running back position? Probably. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that if Roshan's available. So I got Roshan here. So that'll do it for running backs for me. So hopefully I'm right and Darnold stays untouched. And I could just go ahead and get him next round. And then I'll be done with quarterback as well. Underdog should put the team builds here on the big draft board. If I had one complaint. Well, my gamble paid off, so I'm going to go ahead and tie it off with Darnold here at the quarterback position. So I'm going to take another tight end. Definitely okay with taking Chig. I've been pretty big on taking Chig all offseason. I've cooled on doing that because I came out of the gate drafting him all the time. But definitely on board with taking him, for sure. I did not stack Jaden with anybody, which is disappointing. But I've got time because I've got something up my sleeve, and I might pull a fast one here in round 18. So I'll walk you guys through what I might do here if it turns out that way. It's going to turn out that way because nobody's drafting him except me. Jack, can you switch over to the board occasionally to show how the draft is unfolding? Yeah, definitely. I always try to switch back and forth, but I'll try to do it more frequently. Okay, so I'm going to go Chig here. If he makes it. People are definitely picking up on Chig right now. So cool. Got my tight ends. Now I'll just go wide receiver the last 2 rounds. But yeah, pretty happy with this build so far. If I could change something, I wish I had more firepower at start at wide receiver. I think my running backs are pretty strong. Gibbs, Travion, and Jalen Warren, and Tajay and Trey in particular. But if I could change, I would probably take a more explosive risk at wide receiver rather than JSN, who I think is just very stable, good floor. And I think Zay is kind of ultimately the same. Same with Shakir. So hopefully Trey Harris and Kyle Williams combined can give me some spike weeks along with Romeo Doubs. So with this pick, I'm going to try to go for a big boom play. So let's see who we've got. I think Coker and Lockett, the reason I've been drafting them is they feel more solid. Adonai Mitchell is potential, I guess. I don't love that, but he's potential for a big play. Nick Westbrook-Akine is definitely a potential for a big play. I'll go ahead and go with Nick Westbrook-Akine. So he's my big boom play. So the guy I'm going to end up going with here, and I'm going to explain the reason why, is Luke McCaffrey. Now, Luke McCaffrey, I've taken him probably 5-6 times at the end of drafts. And the reason I've enjoyed doing that is because he's being completely overlooked right now. Now, when you think of Washington, you think of obviously Terry, obviously Debo now, and then you've got Noah Brown, who is, by the way, an older player and already been hurt in minicamp, and is not exactly like the healthiest guy during the season either. At the same time, you're seeing a lot of positive reports about Luke McCaffrey coming out of camp. And this also goes back to my general philosophy, which is I love taking players and believing in players who come from football families because they have direct knowledge of firsthand knowledge of what it takes to make it in the NFL and to do the small things that establish the work ethic and have genes, like all those things. So Luke McCaffrey is a guy that I like to take in the back of the draft sometimes if it fits. Like in a normal, the only reason I drafted him here is because of Jaden Daniels. Like if I could get a little bit of stack upside with Luke McCaffrey and Jaden Daniels, then it'll be worth it. But most of the time, I would go with Jaden Daniels, or I'm sorry, I would go with Luke McCaffrey if I had tons of like big play upside and a lot of volatility from my early wide receivers. Like for example, if my first 3 wide receivers were like Brian Thomas Jr., DK Metcalf, and like Jameson Williams or something like that. If those were my first 3 wide receivers, like that's a lot of upside for sure, but there's a lot of volatility in there, and there's probably a lot of weeks where those guys will give me barely anything. So I want to have like a stable target. And I think that's what Luke McCaffrey could be this year for Washington. And I guarantee you, like I said, nobody is drafting this guy. Like, I have not seen anybody besides myself take Luke McCaffrey. If you want to go deep, like, I've taken Mac Hollins in a couple different drafts. And even still, I've seen people take Mac Hollins. I've seen people take Nick Westbrook-Akine. Nobody is taking Luke McCaffrey. And that's fine. He's not going to be like some enormous big play guy. But the potential that he could be like a 500, 600-yard receiver, like in best ball, that's going to matter. In certain weeks when your star players take a dump on you, then that could come in big, like that could come in handy pretty big. So, yeah, I do think that Luke McCaffrey has some functionality in certain situations here. But I think I'm going to end it here tonight, guys. So I appreciate you guys being in here. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel on your way out. Tomorrow's video, make sure to stay tuned for it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.